Hello, and welcome to I played one season of Furrydew Valley Expanded. Eventually, we're going to get to a year and so on, and I'll make epic longer videos when we reach those bigger check marks, but for now, we're playing just one season, Spring. Now, you may be wondering, what is Furrydew Valley Expanded? Well, it's a mod pack I got off Nexus Mods, and it replaces every character in the game with a furrified version of themselves. This mod pack also includes Stardew Valley Expanded and a bunch of other fun mods, over 130 of them in fact, so there will be a lot to discover with this playthrough. So let's start off with our first day. Well, actually our second first day. You see, I recorded a whole first episode without any visuals attached to it. Oops. So I restarted, and this time I made Max, a notable character from my Puddle Cat YouTube channel. He features in several animation memes, a playlist of which I will link below. On day one, I chose Grandpa's farm, which I gladly named Catboy Farm, and I hopped right in, skipping the intro and choosing to bring a hand mirror along with me. I picked up my parsnip seeds, grabbed my mirror from Haley's letter, and got to work making my man a beautiful catboy. After that, I cleared some space, planted my parsnips, chopped some wood for a chest, and went to bed. I had run out of energy, so that was the day. That was the end's day. That was the day's end, I mean. So that was the end of day one. Yes. On day two, I watered my parsnips and went to meet Willie. Today was going to be a day of fishing and meeting people. It was also Morris's birthday. I picked up a few things off the beach, but it wasn't saying he liked any of it, so I set about starting a quest for sunfish I'd grabbed earlier. In this mod pack, it tells you if you have anything that someone likes in your inventory, so there's no way to accidentally give someone a bad gift. Not that that stopped me, lol. I fished up the 3 sunfish I needed for the quest, talking to a few people as they passed, and then I went to buy seeds from Pierre. I went home to plant them, then picked up a flower while meeting people. I gave it to Morris, hoping it was a neutral gift, but he hated it. I finished the sunfish quest with Demetrius, met a few more people, and headed to bed because it was late. I leveled up in my foraging in my dreams that night, and I started the next day. Day 3 began with a torrent of rainfall. I set out with my hopes pinned on catching a catfish and an eel. I started the day at the river, catching several smallmouth bass and a shad. Sadly, no catfish. I chomped down on some algae to refill my energy and set out to meet the rest of the folks I hadn't met yesterday. I only needed to meet Elliot to finish the quest, but he was hiding in his house, so I fished for an eel. It took a while, but I got one. I then headed home, stored 1 of each fish, and sold the rest. I leveled up in fishing in my dreams. On day 4, Clint showed up to teach me the furnace recipe, which I couldn't make, so I watered my crops and cleared up the farm a little. I then grabbed some geodes for Clint to break and headed out. I scored some cookies from the Molnar's trash can, then I cracked up those geodes, met Elliot, and gave him the trash cookies. Enjoy, buddy. After this, I surveyed my daily missions and decided to walk from the beach to Linus's tent, petting Dusty along the way. I talked to a few more people, then went to bed. On day 5, things really started to kick into gear. It started with a parsnip harvest. I then checked the traveling merchant, who had nothing for me, planted some mixed seeds, and then ran into Lewis checking out the old community center. We looked around, I found a creepy scroll, and proceeded to forget about it for now. I sold my parsnips, bought some potato seeds, and ran home to plant them. Then a tragedy occurred. No! I thought I was holding my watering can! I just wasted $50. After that sadness, I watered my remaining taters and went north to the mines. I met Marlin, who gave me a sword, and I proceeded to demolish levels 1 through 3. Impressive, I know. I collected several corals along the way, which I donated to the museum, along with a mineral and a sword. I received some cauliflower seeds as a result, but I wouldn't be able to plant them until the next day. I leveled up in farming that night. I started off day 6 by planting those seeds and receiving a strange letter in the mail. I ran into Andy planting his strawberries before managing to escape and visit the wizard. He was just as strange as his letter, forcing me to drink a vile juice that made me hallucinate trees dancing the foxtrot. Perplexing. Then Sophia gave me a sprinkler, I bought 8 parsnips to plant around it, and I proceeded to do just that. Then I brought Caroline the Joja-Cola she requested, sneaky, doing that as Pierre's wife, and I spent the rest of the day clearing my farm. I would be spending a lot of time clearing my farm. It was raining again on day 7, and I learned the stir-fry recipe, since it was a Sunday and the Queen of Sauce was on. I got the 3 strawberry seeds from Andy, planted them, realized it was Lewis's birthday, and checked the community center bundles. Since I had turned on remixed bundles, I got a few alternate requests than usual. One such alteration was a spring onion in the spring forage bundle, and another was the inclusion of the wild medicine bundle. I brought a couple of items to the old CC, then noticed Pierre wanted Joja Cola for a pizza, which is wrong on so many levels. Maybe Caroline wasn't being so sneaky after all. So I donated an old coin to the museum, brought Lewis his birthday parsnip, and bought Lewis his Joja Cola. While there, I noticed Claire, my wife from another life, falling asleep at the register. How sad. I got a ticket from Pierre's quest, giving me 12 carrot seeds, which I planted before heading to the mines. I made it to level 10, replacing my rusty sword with a femur, and proceeded to head home to bed. Day 8 started with my resolve to visit the museum and donate the 3 artifacts I'd accrued yesterday. A letter from Marlon tested this resolve, but I stayed firm. I harvested some potatoes and watered the field. I got some melon seeds from Gunther, and then went to the mines with what little energy I had left. I reached level 15 and cashed in on a quest to gather stone for Robin. Then, despite having no energy left, I reset the mines until I'd killed enough slimes to enter the Adventurers Guild. That was it for day 8, and I leveled up in combat and mining in my dreams as I slept. I watered my crops on day 9, donated a few things to the museum, and cracked open a few geodes, which gave me another thing to donate. I went to the mines to get some slimes killed, and managed to leech... No, I can't speak. I went to the mines to get some slimes killed, and managed to reach level 20, claiming my magnet ring once I got there. I then finished my 4th daily mission, earning me a Star Drop Tea. I get these daily missions which reset each day, but the progress towards the reward doesn't, allowing me to slowly build them up over multiple days. I cracked open a geode and headed home with my spoils of war. I chopped down a tree or 2 before heading to bed. Day 10 was Vincent's birthday, and it was also raining. It was a carrot and parsnip harvest day, so I resolved to give Vince a carrot, selling the rest of my harvest. Vincent did not like my carrot. Unfortunately, I couldn't buy more seeds from Pierre's because it was Wednesday, so I sadly went to Joja Mart to buy an assortment of seeds. I went home to plant them, and then it was mine time. I had to bail at level 32 thanks to a lack of energy. On day 11, I met Andy on my doorstep telling me about crows. For some reason, he thought I already had scarecrows. I then chopped down some wood for an actual scarecrow. I also harvested the potatoes and watered the other crops. This also happened. Another chest. Oh my gosh, I thought I was holding a freaking watering can! Oh. Yeah, sadness engulfed me then. Or was it anger? Time will tell. I then spent the rest of the day chopping wood for a new chest and organizing my wares. At that point, I was out of energy, but that didn't mean the day was over. I went to the museum to donate a few things, ran into some children looking into the spooky sewers, grabbed Robin's axe, turned in a dandelion to the CC, and reset the mines until I'd killed enough slimes for the daily quest. I returned to Lewis, who regaled me with a rather strange story. I hope you didn't go through too much trouble. I know it can be really hard to get that sticky slime out of your clothes. I've definitely ruined a few good pairs of pants trying to catch those little squirmers. I can remember Mama throwing a fit after I got a glimmering gold slime all over my brand new silk pants. Well, anyways, enjoy your reward. I reached level 2 farming in my dreams and slept until the next day. So, the day started with the reception for my new cat, Junior. I got a letter from Susan, a farmer stuck up in the mountains, and a letter proclaiming the Egg Festival. I watered my crops, set my goal on obtaining a coop, and proceeded to spend the day gathering materials while I cleaned out my farm. The morning of the Egg Festival, I harvested a few crops and watered the rest. I chopped wood until the Egg Festival began, where I spoke to everyone and proceeded to crush Abigail in the egg hunt. I also took a fun picture with the bunny cutout. That was my thumbnail for that video. After the festival, I took a spring onion to the CC, running into Linus rummaging through the trash on the way. I woke up to a packed day 14. I started by watching the Queen of Sauce, and then dealt with my farm chores. I gathered some more materials on the farm, finding a new shirt along the way. I decided to keep it. I then ran into Lewis, who was lamenting the rock slide. Luckily, I found a leak. Not so lucky for Susan, but lucky for me. I donated the leek, and then took the subsequent C's reward to sell for 1,000, netting us enough for the coop we wanted. I gave Haley her birthday gift, donated a bunch of fish, and went to bed. It was raining day 15, and it was also Olivia's birthday. I gathered a bit more wood, cleared a space for the coop, and went to give Olivia a birthday flower. Unfortunately, she was in her room, so I went to buy a coop first. Then I returned and gave her the flower. But it wasn't so simple. I had to wait so long that I began to sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Olivia. Happy birthday to you. Shall we do an encore? Happy birthday to you. Oh, she doesn't like the flower? Okay. I wonder if any of Victor's friends want a part-time job cleaning the house. It'd save me a lot of time. Okay, please at least be neutral. Oh, this is for my birthday? Thank you. Maybe one of Victor's friends will like it. At least pretend to like it. Come on. Where is she? Oh my gosh. Olivia, I don't even know what you are. You're some kind of harpy. It's like, please, don't eat me, but do eat me, but don't eat me, but, anyways. I went to forage in the deep woods for chicken money, and I found a new sword. I went to bed then. Day 16 was nothing but chores. However, mystery boxes began to drop in my dreams, as I also leveled up in foraging. On day 17, I did my chores and then hit the mines, following that up with some donations. I leveled up in combat overnight. On day 18, my coop was done, and I, eventually, bought a couple of chickens, which I named Placeholder, since my name recommendations hadn't come in yet. Spoiler alert, I would not receive those name recommendations this spring. Beware the nameless chickens. I leveled up in farming overnight. On day 19, I mostly just talked to people? Also, I contemplated what gift to give Shane the next day and ended up buying a pizza for him. And then I gathered some materials for a silo before going to bed, where I leveled up in mining. Day 20 was Shane's actual birthday, and I happily gave him that pizza. A few moments later, I ran into Jazz lost in the woods, and I escorted her home. I went to the mines, but didn't make any progress, so I went to bed. Day 21 brought with it another Queen of Sauce episode, which I greedily consumed. My hens were fully grown, yielding my first batch of eggs, and Marnie showed up to tell me something I already knew. Then I went to the mine, managed to actually get down another 5 levels, and left thanks to my waning energy. Leah then gave me a green bean before I visited Clint's and the museum. I dropped off a frozen tear at the CC, redecorated my house, and went to bed. The next day, I did my chores and then grabbed a path recipe from Robin. I proceeded to deck out my farm with some nifty paths. On day 23, I also made paths, clearing the farm as I went. It was Andy's birthday, so I gave him a flower, which he liked. I cleaned up more of the farm until I ran out of energy and went to bed prepared for the flower dance. And now, the flower dance was upon us. I did a bit of spring cleaning before the dance began, where I proceeded to speak to everyone, including my best boy, Shane. We danced, and it was beautiful. Days 25 through 26 were uneventful. I spoke with Lewis, gathered some copper, and went to bed, twice. It was Emily's birthday on day 27, so I grabbed an amethyst and proceeded to take it with me on a mining trip. Okay. I gathered the rest of the copper I needed for a certain quest, and then went home after exhausting my energy. When I went back into town, I ran into an unfortunate cutscene with Andy and Lewis. I donated some things to the museum, meaning I needed to get a new amethyst from the farm for Emily. I gave it to her, and then I went to see Andy on Lewis's request, reassuring him of the proposal Lewis was drafting to save his farm. I visited the mines to kill slimes for a quest, resetting them instead of progressing, because I had no energy. I obtained a coveted item, the Jester shirt, and proceeded to wear it. You can call me Jester Max, everyone. I jest! Then I went to bed. I began the last day of spring by watching the Queen of Sauce. Unfortunately, it was not a very eventful last day, but I did get this bear. Fun! So, all in all, we actually got a lot done in these 28 days of spring. We got a coop and chickens, we won the egg hunt, we danced with someone at the flower dance, we reached level 40 in the mines, we donated a bunch of stuff to the museum and the CC, and of course, we got the jester shirt. Our chickens are still unnamed, the farm is still a mess, and we still have the season's taxes to worry about. Yikes. But those are troubles for next time. I hope you will tag along on this journey with me, watching Let's Plays or subscribing for the next roundup video, in which I will have played 2 seasons of Furrydew Valley Expanded. If you're looking forward to summer, leave a like, comment name suggestions for my farm animals, and have a great day.